Alright guys, if you remember my earlier video today, look, well, it starts off kind of bad. The blocking maneuver, watch. That guy's filming with his camera, blocked by the cart, blocked by the bike. It's much more of a block than this video makes it look like. Anyway, not only that, I get emails from the 99-cent store. Mother's Day. If you didn't know, my mother was involved having me killed, basically. But she didn't supply the actual poison. It was supplied by the church, the Catholics. And that's who run our system, and that's who's doing this. They have to cover up my murder, and since I've exposed her, everybody knows it. Especially in Connecticut. Everybody knows my family had it done. So they have to make it look like I'm crazy. So what they're doing is sending me Mother's Day emails. I got one today and yesterday. And then look, all April, nothing. Apparently I got one in March just to say welcome. See that? So I got no emails from the 99-cent store from March. Just the one saying welcome. All throughout, nothing. Not even on the virus, like, hey, we're doing all we can with the virus, nothing. Then Mother's Day comes around. See, you have to understand who owns this. It's the people who poisoned me, and also, all Catholics are mic'd up worldwide. They own all this stuff, including this. They own Google, they own Apple, they own Microsoft, you name it. Guitar Center, I can go down my email. GNC, Catholics own it. Old Navy, Catholics. Guitar Center, Catholics. REI, Catholics. Best Buy, Taco Bell, you name it. Victoria's Secrets, everything you see here, Catholics own it. McDonald's, Domino's. So these emails come, Jack in the Box. These emails come anytime they want. Boost Mobile, Anchor. You like I said, you can go down your own email, whatever. Catholics own all this, and they're trying to make me look crazy to cover up my murder and the fact that they're all mic'd up, and they're doing this kind of shit, like the blocking maneuver, and then I get emails like that, hoping I make posts like this because they think nobody will believe that. And look at this. I even got a Microsoft account reset, password reset thing. I didn't do that. I don't know. I was on my bike for 53 minutes just now. I came from the 99-cent store to now I'm near LAX, and this I get. Like I said, it's all bullshit. It's all staged to cover up my murder. I'll show you even more. Let me show you the news. If it will ever load. All right, look at this bullshit right here. Where's it at? Change it. It looks like they might have pulled the story. Did they pull it? Yeah, it's not here. Alright, it was about Kobe Bryant, about his wife. I don't know if she's suing the sheriff of LA. Now, Kobe Bryant, that was the first big attempt for them to stage something where I would know it's fake, but the population wouldn't. And what they had is a relative of Ronnie come up and sit next to me at the library, which is a CIA library, if you didn't know. They're federal agents. And they said, Kobe died. Not to me, but they had a guy come up to him, and so I would hear it, and I would know that it's false, and would post it. And that's obviously something you can't prove. And then the virus was the second thing. They needed to stage something that I knew was fake. They knew was fake, but my audience or anybody who would look into my, when I'm telling you my videos, would think the opposite. And that's what you call a myth. That's what a myth means. If you look up a myth, I'll even show you a myth. It's whoops, sorry. A widely held but false belief or idea. So now how would a widely idea become a myth? I mean, obviously it could happen. Especially if it was once believed, like say a certain thing cures something, and that could become a myth. But also you could stage something that's a myth, like 9/11 on who did it and all that stuff. Catholics did it. Now the Kobe thing, obviously you can't prove, and you would have to go deep into it. It's very hard. It would take you months to try to prove to people that that's false. And that's obviously something that you just can't do. That's why it works. That's why you can fake stuff like that. Just like the virus. The virus is like impossible to prove not to be false. It's very hard. Not impossible, it's hard. Proof is only proof only means what it takes to get somebody to believe it. You know what I mean? That's all it is. These play on words. But back to what I was talking about. They're doing all they can to make me look crazy. And I could choose not to show you this kind of stuff. But if you never see it, I don't know why I did that. If you never see this kind of stuff, you'll never know it gets done. And it needs to get out that this is done. Because Catholics own all, like, look at all these, like, just look at all this. Catholics own all this. See this? See all these? Catholics designed all these. And I can assure you, every time I reset my phone, which I'll probably do in the next day or two, I'm not going to do it right now, but erase all content and settings, and I reload it, they're all mic'd up here, and they gasp based on the apps I put back on. There's a huge, because each app I choose affects their cover-up story. Because when I die, they're going to have to recover my phone, and they're going to choose which apps they want to use and which ones they don't, kind of thing. Whoops. But so based on what I load when I reset my phone, they often gasp, whether it's Best Buy, because if I load Best Buy, it shows purchases I made, so they can't say, oh, he stole it. All those little things that you can't prove, they attack. It's unbelievable. It's so complex, and the reason it's complex is because there's a lot of people doing it. Teams of people. Just like if you go on Wikipedia and look up any kind of like species of animals, you see this unbelievable amount of research that was done. Well, do you think they just do that on ants? I mean, come on. They do unbelievable research on people, and Catholics, they want a one world system, and they've mastered how to kill off people and hide it from the rest of the people until they're all gone and there's just one Catholic system. Like I said, I did not know this until I got out here and saw it firsthand. I mean, I had hints of it, like I knew 9/11 was something happened, that like it was staged. Now, just so you know, I believed 9/11 for years. What was it, 7 years, or no, 12 years I believed it? 11 or 12 years I believed 9/11, the story. Until what happened to me happened, and then I looked into it and figured, they can do that? How, you know? And this is where like a schizophrenia comes in. This is where Catholics need something to tell free people. This guy developed a disease, so his thoughts are not clear, and to cover for the fact that they do this stuff. And that's where something like schizophrenia or some kind of psychosis or mental illness are terms that they use to cover for free people that they want to get rid of. Like I said, you have to read the Bible. If you never read the Bible, you'll never understand this. And I've never read the whole Bible, but all you do is have to go through it, and if you don't agree with it line by line, Catholics want you dead. So I'm telling you that. You can choose to believe it or not, but a simple way to look at it, the easiest way to look at it, is who owns our money system? It's private, right? It's private. Catholics own it. Catholics own all these banks. You know, all the banks that give you the money? Not only give you, they decide if you get money, how much money you get, how much money for a house, how much money for college. Now, who do you think they choose to give the most money to? Catholics. The ones who went to private schools their whole lives. The ones who are most loyal to the church. The ones who have a one world goal in mind of a Catholic system. There's your answers right in your face. Catholic churches are on all these corners, especially out here. It's ridiculous. You can go down any street here and you see a church. They're all over the place. Where do you think those, you know how much money that takes? It's because Catholics own it. They own our money system. And they just print it up. It's paper, printed. They cut a tree down, print the paper, and give it to their own. And that's who becomes law enforcement. So FBI, CIA. CIA is the highest ranking Catholics, if you didn't know. Then you got the FBI and so forth. Which is why they're blocking any investigation of my murder, because they're involved. They had an FBI agent give me money to get me out here. On PokerStars, I sold her play chips. She even showed me her badge, and the FBI is hiding that fact. And she is out here in Santa Monica. How about that? Well, I'm in LA right now, but Santa Monica, where I came from, she is there, as her family is. Apparently, she's in the Estevez Sheen family. You know, the famous family? They're huge out here in Santa Monica, and so is the Schwarzenegger family. They're not the only families. Veronica, I've showed you, I don't know her last name. Her family is massive. She might be the most powerful family out here, and she might be related to my sister's husband, Paul. So when my sister, my phone call said, Paul knows some people that way, and she was trying to cover for it, and I didn't know at the time. I'm like, something weird here. And sure enough, apparently, Mr. Paul has a massive family out here. And that would have been part of how my mom got cyanide for my sister Heather's connections to the CIA. Anyway, the federal judge who covered up that cyanide poisoning was Vanessa Bryant. So listen carefully. The federal judge in Connecticut who covered up the attempted murder of me, I thought it was a medical error, was federal judge Vanessa Lynn Bryant. So why would you want Jamie to post the Kobe Bryant story? To cover for Vanessa Lynn Bryant, the federal judge in Connecticut. They're all part of the same cult. Kobe's wife, and Vanessa L. Bryant, federal judge, are all Catholic cult members, all mic'd up. All athletes are. And they need to also, not only to make me look crazy, they need the athletes to not follow my story. Because I have an athletic past. And also you have the guitar past, the bodybuilding past, with you can call athletic as well. Which is where Schwarzenegger comes in and the bodybuilders. At Gold's Gym on 3rd Ave there. I was on 3rd Ave when they hit me with the weapon, and you got that famous Gold's Gym right there where Schwarzenegger used to work out and all the Mr. Olympias kind of thing. At least spent some time there. So that's where Kobe Bryant comes into my case. Otherwise, I wouldn't waste my time on that case, honestly, because there's so many staged stories and staged deaths by Catholics. Let me just say this much about Kobe. Could it have been staged? You bet your ass. Was it staged? I think so. But like I said, that's something I really don't want to get into. The virus is more important to me because it applies to me. Kobe's faking his death to him and whatever. That's, it doesn't, I don't care that much, except for the fact that the names match. His wife's name is the same name as a federal judge who covered on my case. So that's the connection. That's why, just so you know, Ronnie was 2 spots on 3rd Ave down from me. Ronnie Montgomery was her name. She's a federal agent. She was in contact with my family, and she was one of the reasons the weapon was used on me, at least the second time. But she was well aware both times. Her relative in the library is the one who made me find out about Kobe. Or at least I would have found out anyway, obviously, when you check the news. But I didn't check that day, and they wanted me to know it was from them, so I would say it. Because if I just saw it in the thing, I might not have thought anything of it. But they knew having him do it would make me post that it's bullshit, which is why they did it. Which also leads you to a pre-planned. Like I said, Kobe's thing isn't something I would even... Like, if I say I wrote a lawsuit against suing these people, Kobe would be something I don't know if I'd mention. Because right now it's like, does it apply? I mean, what's going to happen is, to cover up my murder, they're going to say, Jamie Eads, that's the guy who thinks Kobe's death was fake. That's the guy who thinks the virus was fake. That's the guy who thinks not... That's what they're doing it for. So they can say, to cover up my murder. What happens is the U.S. government poisoned a U.S. citizen who had no criminal record without a trial. And if you look back, Chris Dodd of Connecticut left during it, and Jody Rell, the governor, left in tears during it. Or at least they announced they weren't going to rerun. But Chris Dodd started the re-election. He had Obama campaign for him in Connecticut. He was running, and then he dropped out after having been in the Senate how many times? He made the decision to run. Then when I found out my medical records were falsified, they thought I figured out it was attempted murder, because apparently it goes back to high school. So those in Milford who know what it's about, I had no idea. I did not leave high school because of that. So they thought I knew. Once they knew that I knew the records were falsified, the brain damage, they thought I knew. They thought I figured it out. So Chris Dodd and Jody Rell took off, because apparently it goes back to high school. One reason they did it. As planes land. So my story, it's very long and complex, and if you hear it all, you'll know it's the truth. You know what I mean? But it's long and complex, and I have brain damage. It's not my fault. It's from the poison. but I'm still very capable, as you can see, winning 700 and what am I at, 40 RBI baseball games, 740 without a loss, which they've tried hard to get me to lose by jamming certain games during the games. At least 100 of those wins they've tried to make not be wins, and I still won the games. So it's a world record. It's a world record. It'll never be broken. Here, let me turn this off, because this phone, when this phone shuts off from that 30-second thing, if I don't touch it, I lose my thing. It shuts off, and I hate when that happens. It drives me nuts. Honestly, it'll shut up. It'll shut up if I don't change this too. Right here. Where is it? Right here. To never. The problem, I don't like how they do that, right? With the screen recorder, it should stay on, damn it. I could see maybe if you have the battery thing on, but still, even if you have that on, it should override it. But if you had this other one on at 1 minute, it'd probably shut off at 1 minute. It gives you that warning first, though. It dims before it shuts off. See, these videos suck because who wants to see a screen like this? Whee! You know, like... yeah, and see, I make all these videos, and I know people watch them. They're manipulating the numbers. I don't know how many watch them. But I will say many of the people who watch them are in the cult. So they're not speaking up now for the most part, but when I'm dead, they'll probably say something to sell the murder story. Now you have to understand, I'm terminal from the radiation that was used on me, but they can end it quicker. Like, say they hit me with a car. That becomes a stamp of my death story. He died from the car. And it would gloss over the fact that all the other stuff happened, and that's the irony of life, I guess. But there's so many things they can do, like the assault and robbery. That was a murder plot. If that succeeded, that might have worked. May have worked, may not have worked. I don't know. The thing is, they work because people don't investigate it. People hear a story, and if it's told by a large enough group of people, they believe it. And that's how Catholics are getting what they want, because they're all mic'd up together, and it's one story coming out of Catholics. They don't have free opinions. If you didn't know, Catholics mean you follow the Bible and you follow leadership of the church. That's how you live your life. You do not have your own opinion, or at least you keep it to yourself. And when the church tells you to say something, you say it. And you don't disagree. And so that's how it happens. So Catholics have all these people mic'd up, and they're all saying one thing, and they're staging this virus together. I am 100% sure about the virus. Kobe, what percentage would I give on him his death being staged? In the 90s. I won't say 100%, but the virus, I am 100% sure this is being staged. But the Kobe thing, I haven't looked in enough to confidently say 100%. I don't throw 100% out there unless I'm 100% sure. So I'll say high 90s with Kobe. Or at least the 90s, in the 90% range that is staged, that he's walking the earth right now. And one of the reasons they staged it was because of the Vanessa Bryant connection. That's what it looks like. Now remember, I'm telling you because I found out from one of the people involved, one of the leaders out here. He came, sat in front of me at the thing. There's no secret. He did it. I knew he was doing it, and he knew he was doing it. So I would know it's fake and post it. So they can start the he's crazy thing. And I don't know if that was the only thing they were going to do, or they said, you know what, this is not working like we were hoping, so let's do the virus on top. I don't know if they both were planned it together. But I can assure you, everything done, the church decides. So if the church says, Kobe, we want you to fake your death, he does it. That's how it works. Now, if you don't understand that, you don't understand worship, because these people worship the church. Now, if you don't understand, the Catholics worship the devil, Satan. You know, Satan, the whole master of deceit. Well, I can assure you, Mr. Bryant is in this cult, so he worships the devil. So did Michael Jordan. So did all these athletes. You cannot be an athlete today, a professional athlete, unless you're a devil worshiper. There's no way around it, and they're all mic'd up. Now, if that may sound crazy to you, it's because you don't know enough about it. Catholics worship the devil. That's what they go to church for. So, it's right there in your face. Now, what does that mean? It means a forced system based on a perfect society. That's what the devil is. It's supposed to be perfect. And the Bible tells you how to be perfect. The church decides who you mate with, who you marry, what job you have. The church decides everything. What kind of money you get. You're given it by the church. I'm amazed this thing's still recording because I don't have much storage left. I should probably stop it before it runs out of storage. So I'm gonna have to end this video because I am low on storage. But it is the 9th of May, right? Wow, May. Yep. Just to show you real quick, let me show you. We got baseball at 7:40, straight wins since, see that? Over a year I have not lost a game. The reason this is slowed down was because of the virus. But now I get power every day, at least for temporarily, so I can play more games. The goal obviously is to get over 1,000, which will happen, I would say, in the next 3 months if everything goes well. If I don't lose, of course. I don't like to think ahead because that's how you lose games. But to get over 1,000 would be fucking amazing. Amazing. I mean, it's amazing already, but that would be. I'll be dancing when that happens. That would be like my greatest accomplishment ever. Well, one of them. I have many I'm proud of. Squatting over 500 pounds is just one that is at the top. That was great. I was 8-0 with 2 saves on a 16-0 baseball team. That was great. I hit home runs after 7 murder attempts here in Cloverfield. That was great. The field that invented the weapon, Cloverfield, that's Santa Monica Airport. That's where the Douglas aircraft invented the weapon they used on it, or at least the technology. So it was kind of right in your face, kind of hitting home runs there at the ballpark. They're going to redo that ballpark now, or that whole park. So everything I posted, they like redo to make it look different than when I posted as an aid to cover up my murder. So that was a nice thing. Obviously, this win streak, and the Poker Stars 100 billion is another thing I'm very proud of. That's the best in the world. To do that without working with the site, nobody else has done that, I can assure you. So I'm very proud of that. So those are some of the things I'm most proud of. 100 billion, what, 740 we're at? Gonna be over 1,000, hopefully. That's the goal, but let's not jump too far. And the 500 pounds, over 500 pounds squatting with no spot, and that was my regular routine for like well over a year, to be squatting over 500 pounds with nobody spotting you. We're talking barbells with a weight belt. That's it, a weight belt on around my waist. Nobody spotting, and if I fell, you fall and risk killing yourself, because that's a lot of weight. I could have done much more than 500, by the way. I did 568 reps with no spotter, which meant I did enough reps where I can still get up and put it back without failing, you know what I mean? So I left, there was plenty left to do more weight. I could have easily done 600. I believe if my life depended, I could have done 7, but that's another story. Anyway, I gotta end the video. Take care. Jamie's out.